Megan Pinckney Rutherford is a wife, a mom, a businesswoman, and a digital content creator. And oh, by the way, she's Miss USA 2013. She tells me what she's working on right now for this edition of Quintin's Close-Ups. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my YouTube channel and like Quintin's Close-Ups on Facebook. Megan Pinckney Rutherford, welcome to Quintin's Close-Ups.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, I appreciate it greatly. Needless to say, you are Miss South Carolina USA, of course, in 2013. You are a wife, a mom, a digital content creator, and of course, the founder of Shades of Pink. And of course, you're here from the Low Country. So tell me, Megan, what is that one headline to describe your life right now?
Oh, the one headline. I would say all encompassing. I feel like right now I'm at that point in my life, which is a great place to be, where I have my hand in a little bit of everything, in so many different worlds. And it just feels like I wear many hats as a mother, as a wife, as a business owner. I started my business over a decade ago, at a very different point in my life. And at that point in time, I was able to really focus on that. And that kind of became who I was and, defined me. And since then, I've been able to, like I said, put on so many different hats, that I feel like right now life is just all encompassing, coming at me in so many different ways and places, I suppose.
And I want to talk to you about that in just a second, but you talk about obviously starting your brand in business a couple of years ago. So let me ask you, Miss Megan, what is the biggest difference from that time to right now?
Well, the world has changed drastically. It's funny to think that even back in 2013, we didn't really live our entire lives online. But we really didn't. It's changed so much in the past, like I said, decade or so, that the internet, truly, because of COVID, and because of, all the changes that brought, we digitized our lives in a way that we probably always assumed society would, but it came in a much quicker, out of necessity, I think it escalated much quickly than any of us could have predicted. So that would probably be the biggest difference. And I say that because it's had its benefits, of course. Businesses recognize the importance of online marketing and the importance of digital content. And, I guess I've been able to find my place in an industry that didn't really exist much 10 years ago. But with all benefits come negatives. And with that, I would say, just the opportunity for so much information creates misinformation. Living our lives so digitally affects our in-person communications. And because of that, our emotions, our feelings, and our, the way that we react to the world as a society is so different today than it was a decade ago.
Let me ask you, what resources did you have, because the world was changing so rapidly back then, what resources did you have to actually digitize your life to where it is right now?
I can't say that I really had many resources, at least not in the beginning. I think that it was something that interests me. I've always been a lover of imagery. Ever since I was a young child, I'm an only child, so I spent lots of time alone. So I would spend so much time in my room just like flipping through magazines, cutting out images and like putting together collages and, just really kind of getting lost in images. So I think that I've always had that interest. And because I've always had that interest, I think that I was able to build, what some people would call an eye for imagery, and in the sense of like how to balance an image, how to create, interest within an image. But I can't say that like those were tools that were given to me. They were just things that developed purely out of, childhood interest. So because of that, when Instagram and blogging really kind of took off, I think that I did have, a base of understanding, even without formal education, But what was really exciting for me was I, at the time, was still in college and I was studying fashion merchandising at the University of South Carolina. And what I was able to do was really figure out how to take these like branding ideas and these marketing ideas that were being taught to me to apply to the fashion industry, and apply it to this platform that was so image based and something, like I said, that I had already had interest in. So I think that I naturally found a way to kind of combine those things. And what really truly helped me, like you already mentioned, at the time I had just completed Miss USA. And at that time, just where pageantry was in zeitgeist, it was a little more well known, and it at the time it was nationally televised. So that night, instead of Googling me, because Instagram was like such a new platform, people searched for me on Instagram. So I got my first influx of followers, which ultimately started to build my audience. And like I said, because of those two things that I had already started doing in terms of developing my interests of imagery and then, combining that with traditional marketing tools, and my love for writing, I kind of developed what I have today.
And I know that obviously you talk about those skills that you've developed so far, and of course you have a lot of experience, here in Charleston and up in Columbia. So, what exactly is the art of digital marketing these days?
That's actually the joke. I mean, I think that trying to pinpoint something specific, it either would be untrue or it would change the very next day. I think anybody that's trying to tell you that they completely understand it isn't being completely honest with you. And a part of that, to me, just from my opinion,
Yes, ma'am.
not going to say that this is factual in any studies or any research whatsoever. But I think just as my business has grown over the last decade or so, so has social media and these platforms and their businesses. So I think that they've been able to figure out exactly how to monetize other people monetizing their product, which of course they can't be blamed for. However, I think they've been able to figure out how to consistently change what is needed for the algorithm, for their approval or whatever, to constantly keep people on their toes so that it isn't like this game that's unlocked and then completed. It's something that's continuous so that, again, we're always almost like on a rat, or what is a hamster wheel,
Right.
trying to keep up with their changes.
Yes, ma'am. And in 20 seconds, because Zoom's only giving me a minute left for some reason. I don't know why. I think I'm on
Oh,
that 40-minute limit. But,
sorry.
oh, you're fine. You're fine. But let me ask you, what exactly is the consumer's needs and wants right now when it comes to social media?
To be honest, I think that the consumer is not wanting to be sold to, which is totally fair, but they're wanting resources. And I think through resources, things are purchased and, people continue to consume. But I think when I started out, people were really interested, hyper focused in other people's lives and what other people were doing. But I think after, like I said, a decade of that, we've pretty much seen everything that can be done. Everyone has shown us something, and, things that seemed so attainable that we didn't have access to visually or imaginatively, now exists, whether that's through real people's lives that we'd never got to see before, or AI. We've seen so many different things. So I think that people are less in tuned with, being hyper focused on someone's personal life and are more interested in how maybe someone's life or just someone as a person or their knowledge can be a resource to them. Because I think that since we have so much content, we are sponges and we are just constantly wanting to learn or be entertained. And, that's never ending.
Yeah, that's to be continued, of course.